So I'm with Bim Afolami and going to ask some questions around energy in light of Ukraine. So Bim, thank you very much for taking this time. You mentioned at this Biz for Biz conference that obviously we've had Brexit, we've had COVID, we've had Ukraine. What does that mean for businesses and energy usage and their energy prices?
Well, I mean, Brexit I don't think particularly impact energy prices, but I think COVID and the Ukraine, for complex economic reasons and for the fact that Putin invaded a neighboring country, mean that I think energy prices are going north very, very quickly. And the faster that people get their heads around that, the better.
And in terms of what does that mean for businesses? Sustainability, net zero, going renewable. What are they going to? They need to do things like that, but what else do they need to do?
Well, really, it's an energy efficiency point. I mean, Adrian Hawkins, who's the chair of Biz for Biz and who is hosting this conference, made the point that in his very successful welding business, they changed to LED lighting. I'm sure they did all sorts of other things, but he mentioned when they changed to LED lighting and how that investment significantly reduced the operating costs across their warehouses. That is the sort of action that we all understand, that isn't super complicated, but you need a bit of boldness to really, really understand that that is going to benefit you economically. What I said in the hall was, even if you aren't particularly bothered about climate change, I think you should be, but even if you aren't, you've got to recognize that this is economically the right thing for you to do. Act in a more sustainable way, use less energy, make sure the energy that you use is renewable, and that will mean that it's more secure because it will be in Britain or in a country very nearby that is much less exposed than maybe getting oil or fossil fuels from the Middle East or Russia.
So interestingly, we talked about security, and so there's this whole thing around security of energy supply.
Yeah.
What are we as a country doing about that?
Well, that's why we're turbocharging the nuclear program. That's why we've got the best wind. We've got the best wind energy in Europe. And by the way, we're going to do more. I mean, I've been talking to colleagues all week about the need to supercharge this. The energy is the nuclear program. It's set out correctly. We've got a new financing model. I think we need to accelerate it. I want this nuclear to come on stream even faster. Rolls-Royce have got this modular nuclear that lots of people have talked about, people recognize. Let's get this moving because, we can't do this fast enough. I think that this is the time, this moment is where we just need to make a decision as a country to make sure that we can go as green as we can, as fast as we can, not because of this isn't even an ethical question, this is actually an economic question. And I think the economic opportunities that will result and the improvements in terms of energy security, as you mentioned, and energy efficiency will be significant.
This is a difficult question. I know that certain councils, some of the NHS are utilising energy supplies from Gazprom. What can they do? Look,
you can't, I'm not going to criticize any, businesses and councils have a tough job, right? So, and nobody knew that this Ukraine thing was going to happen. What I would advise them, indeed anybody, is try as fast as you can to use as much renewable energy as possible, because that will be more secure, more efficient, and better for the planet. So I'd urge them to look at it. If you're in charge, if you're a business or a local council, and you are getting natural gas from Russia, I would think, how do I switch to a more renewable source of energy? And how do I do that as locally as I can? And I think they should be looking at that today.
So interestingly, even though this is such a bad thing happening, there's almost a great opportunity for businesses to move to a much better thing for all of us.
I mean, it's just a necessity. When it becomes more obvious what's happening to oil prices, what's happening to gas prices and everything else, lots of people will be flocking to offset that by being more renewable and acting in a more sustainable way. In politics, one of the things that you always try and understand is where are things going to be? And it's blindingly obvious to me that's where things are going to be. So if you're in a business, why wait a month, 6 months, a year? Why not just get there now? Because that will be better for you economically. You'll get better deals, the first mover advantages you'll have. And I think that it's the right thing to do on top of it as well.